You're tuned in to the Just a Tip podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Olan. Let's get into it. So, this is basically my first episode of my own podcast. I do have another podcast that I have with a couple of friends of mine. That one is called the Three Amigos Podcast, and it's under the Culture Talks channel. I'll leave a link to that in my description. And I also have another YouTube channel that's my tech and gaming channel. That one is called Anthony Olan Tech. That will also be linked in the description. And I know that this is my comedy channel, but I wanted to use this segment to not only try to add some content to that channel, since it's been quite a few months, even almost a year since I uploaded to that channel, but I also wanted to try to use this segment to kind of talk to you about different things within, life and experiences. And it's the reason why it's called the Just a Tip podcast. It's so that I feel that I want to be able to give out helpful tips and things to live by in life. Now, of course, you have your own goals and ambitions, and that's completely fine. We all have goals, or we should all have our own goals and ambitions to reach in life. But I just want to try to inspire people. Granted, I am not where I want to be career-wise. There's definitely been a lot of roadblocks along the way. This pandemic has been one of them, because before the pandemic, I was still living in New York, and I was getting involved into the stand-up comedy scene. If you check this channel out, there'll be a couple of videos of that on there. And it was a very fun but stressful time, because I noticed that as my shows went on, I was doing more shows one after the other, that my material kind of went downhill, my reactions kind of went downhill. And it was strange that my first stand-up comedy performance was my best was my best one. And it's something that's really difficult when you're trying to share your experiences with others, trying to make them laugh, trying to bring laughter into this world, because there's a lot of things that happens, in life, and we can all use laughter to get through it. So it was unfortunate that we had this pandemic, which prevented me from being able to continue doing my comedy career. And then I recently relocated down to North Carolina. And while some places are still, they're opening up their, businesses and opening up the comedy clubs, for some reason, down in North Carolina, they're still not, everything's still closed pretty much. So I figured I'd take the time to continue to write my material, keep writing, and hopefully when things get better, I can get back into the stage and get back to performing. So what does this have to do with this podcast and what I'm trying to do with it? Well, some people out there so let's say they're in my situation. They started doing something that they got involved in, whether it's singing, acting, stand-up comedy, or anything like that. And then, the pandemic happened and they can't do it. Some people might actually just give up and they just would be done with that project. And I don't think that's what people should do. I think that this is the perfect time to work on your art, so to speak. If you can't present some of your work out there because of this pandemic, use the time to work on it, to improve on your skills. Even if you're good at what you do, you can always get better. You can always learn more. And it's strange because there are some ways out there that people can actually get their stuff seen. They're still producing TV shows and movies for those actors. So if you're an actor and you're trying to make it, there's still chances that you can make it. It really depends on where you are. And that's mainly being New York, LA, and apparently now Atlanta, because there's a lot of stuff going on in Atlanta. Most of the Disney shows, or the Disney Plus shows, are done in Atlanta. So there's definitely a lot of chances out there, depending on where you are. And if you are not in those locations, but you plan to go there someday, that's fine. Use this time to work on your skills, to improve on what you do. As for someone like me doing comedy, not only am I trying to work on my my act and, trying to build on my material. But I'm also looking for inspiration wherever I can find it, which is why I spend a lot of time watching these, comedy shows on, Netflix and YouTube, and Facebook apparently has a bunch of them too. And I also actually know a guy for a number of years. He was my high school dean, and he started doing comedy about maybe 10 years ago. And, as of a couple years ago now, he's been, traveling to different states. He's been hosting shows. He's been performing shows. He's, I believe he's getting a special soon. I think he's going to do it in the Bronx. For those of you who don't know, the Bronx is in New York City. I think that's common knowledge, but for those of you who don't know, there you go. And the point about that is he, from what I can tell and from what I've known about him, he comes from a similar upbringing, similar type of neighborhood, similar lifestyle. And when you go to the high school I went to, you come from the place I come from, you don't expect that people from those places can actually make it and be successful. And of course, that's not true. Everyone has a chance to be successful. Everyone has a chance to reach some type of goal. The only difference is, while we all have that chance, we don't all have the same obstacles. And that's what the hard part is. Everyone has their own set of obstacles to pass through. And for him, I don't know what exact obstacles he had to go through, but he did have to stay with this field for like 10 years. I believe it's about 10 years now. And, I admire the guy because he came from where, we come from, and he's doing his thing. He's, out there, he's making his money. One of his videos he rented a Porsche when he was in like Florida or something. And sure, it's just a rental, but hey, I wish I can afford to rent a Porsche or something. And, it's all about sticking with it, same thing with YouTube, because I have my other YouTube channel, as I mentioned, and I've done it for, I believe, about a year, or we're approaching a year pretty soon. And I only got about 125 subscribers. And that's fine, because if you don't have that one video that went viral, you probably won't even reach a lot of subscribers for at least 3 or 4 years. And that's completely fine, because it is something that I enjoy doing. It is something that I am sticking with. I've done many YouTube channels in the past, and they've all seemed to fail. Not so much of the material, so much of me not really sticking with it. And I guess partly some of it was material. But, I am trying to stick with this, and I am trying to see where it goes. And with the comedy career, I do wish that there was something I can do to perform. A lot of people are doing the Zoom performances, but I don't have the right I don't have the following to do that. I actually know a comedian that I met, and she has tons and tons of Instagram followers and stuff. So she does these shows, and she's still in New York City. So she is performing at different comedy clubs that are open. She's performing at public spaces that they have out there for the comedy. I think if she actually started a YouTube channel, she would, skyrocket in her follows. But this is the time for me to work on my material, work on my grind. And I do hope that whoever is listening who does have some type of goal they want to reach, that they use this time to work on it. I know it's scary to think about this pandemic, and we don't know when or if it'll end, but we got vaccines out there. It's a first step. It's a big step. So we don't know what can happen. So don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. Just keep on pushing and keep on doing what you do. And that'll be my episode for today. Thank you for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will hopefully catch you guys on the next one.